Well, guys, man, welcome back to another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, I'm here to tell you, Urban Meyer calls out the Cleveland Browns for lying about Shedeur Sanders' evaluation. He's telling this organization, you guys got it all wrong, and we're going to unpack all that here next, here on the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, guys, man, we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about the way the Cleveland Browns are evaluating Shedeur Sanders as an NFL quarterback. Talent evaluation on Shedeur Sanders. A lot of people think that the Cleveland Browns organization has it all wrong, and they don't value Shedeur Sanders as an NFL quarterback. The evaluation from the Cleveland Browns is that, he's not the future of the Cleveland Browns. Now, we all know what Shedeur Sanders brings to the table. Shedeur Sanders is a flat-out baller. He's a quarterback. He is everything that an NFL team needs in a quarterback. He exemplifies the professionalism, the quarterback awareness, the pocket presence, the ability to escape on the run, ability to throw the ball down the field, the ability to put the ball in the receiver's hands where only the receiver can catch the ball. That's why in his collegiate career, Shedeur Sanders was limited on the interception realm. All his touchdowns outweighed his interceptions by far. And coming into the NFL draft, a lot of teams, their evaluation of Shedeur Sanders was flat out wrong. Now, we know the legend Urban Meyer, he had some things to say about the evaluation of Shedeur Sanders. Now, we all know who Urban Meyer is. Urban Meyer, he had a collegiate playing days in college. He played for Cincinnati. He was a defensive back. We all know his head coaching, where he started out at Xavier, I think was back in 1985. Then he went to Ohio State and Georgia from 1986 to 1987, I think. Also, he was a coach, offensive linebackers coach at Illinois State. And then also, he went to Colorado State as a wide receiver coach. He was a wide receivers coach at Notre Dame. Also, then he took a head coaching job at Bowling Green, I think back in 2001. Also, he coached at Utah from 2003 to 2004, coached at Florida from 2005 to 2010, back in the Tim Tebow days. And then, the most standout job was Ohio State from 2012 all the way to 2018. And then he took the job at Jacksonville back in 2021. Now, we know that he's a three-time FBS national champion in 2006, 2008, and 2014. So we all know the accolades that Urban Meyer has in the college realm. And Urban Meyer been around a lot of quarterbacks. Urban Meyer's seen a lot in his days. Urban Meyer knows when there's talent out there. Urban Meyer said some things about Shedeur Sanders that you want to pay attention to. And basically, he's calling out the Cleveland Browns, saying you flat out lied about the evaluation of Shedeur Sanders, and you got it all wrong. But before we get off into that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor. Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy sports. Let me tell you about the easiest way to get in on some WNBA and NBA action. Find your player, pick higher or lower, win you some extra cash. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry, get every pick right, and win some serious cash. Use my promo code SBD23 and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now that it's football time, follow Simply Ball Dropping as I share my picks. Like I said, pick your player, choose your amount, win money. Make picks, win cash. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for the partnership with us. And thank you for using promo code SBD23 on Underdog Fantasy. Now, guys, with that being said, Urban Meyer called in on a podcast out there in Cleveland on 92.3 The Fan. And the guys was talking about Shedeur Sanders, and Urban Meyer's chimed in. So, guys, I want you to pay attention to what Urban Meyer had to say about Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback. Guys, pay attention. We're going to listen to this. And when we finish listening to this, we'll come back and I'll let you know what I think. Let's take a listen.
Sanders. And do you think Shedeur Sanders has what it takes to be a starting NFL quarterback?
I loved watching him. We covered at Big Noon. We covered him. We were there for Deion's, I think, first 3 games, and he turned around a program that was a train wreck. And you don't do that without Shedeur Sanders. I got to go behind the scenes and watch him, watch his coach or his father and coach. And, a lot of times we all get uncomfortable with maybe the flash and the posse and the watches, et cetera, et cetera. But I know what I saw. I saw a player that can get out of trouble, lead a team, has really all the skill set to be successful. He took just a god-awful program and they turned it around. And so I think there's a lot of substance there. The issue that I remember Tim had, and a GM told me this one time, is that if you're a backup quarterback, and whether you bring it on yourself or it's just because Tim tried not to bring it on himself, it just happened. As a backup quarterback, they don't want all the media attention on that one player. All coaches want, team, no distraction. So I'm not there in Cleveland. But if you're asking the question, can he do it? I don't think there's any doubt he can do it. It all depends on what's around him. But if you're talking about a skill set, great leadership, a quality person that I really enjoyed watching, I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan.
Now, you heard what Urban Meyer had to say, man, and Urban Meyer just put it out there. And a lot of things stood out to me what Urban Meyer said. He was talking about the Tim Tebow situation where he's talking about the media attention. I think Cleveland is scared of the media attention that Shedeur Sanders brings. I think that's what it is. Because if you notice in some of the media availability, when Kevin Stefanski is talking, his whole tone changes up when they ask questions about Shedeur Sanders. And as a backup quarterback coming in, you having this big media spectacle focused on you. And I think Cleveland is saying to itself, we can't have one person that's bigger than this organization. And that's what it boils down to. I don't think it has nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders' talent as a quarterback. I don't think Cleveland wants this media spectacle because it was already put out there about, Deion Sanders, his father, with everything that he brings to the table and all the media spectacle surrounded around him. Now you got kids that are playing in NFL. It's going to draw attention. But guys, peep this. It's smoke and mirrors because they're using Shedeur Sanders' jersey as bait. They're using him on the website. You go to their website, you got Shedeur Sanders on the website with the number 12 jersey. So they're using him in some type of way. And in this situation, Urban Meyer, he was basically telling Cleveland, man, you guys got it all wrong, man. I know Shedeur Sanders can turn around a franchise. You see what he did in college. He said he took a god-awful program, and it had to do with Shedeur Sanders, turned it around. And he talked about his quarterback leadership. He talked about his skills, what he's capable of doing. So, Urban Meyer been around football for a long time, and, he's seen quarterbacks come and go. But he said he is a Shedeur Sanders fan, and Cleveland got it all wrong. Like, he basically said they don't want that attention. They don't want that young man to bring attention. You guys just peep something. Do you realize that well-off media is not around the Cleveland Browns organization as much? We don't see footage of well-off media capturing the Cleveland Browns training camp or anything like that. They don't want that attention, man. And they try to penalize Shedeur Sanders because of what Shedeur Sanders stands for and what he brings to the table as an NFL quarterback. It has nothing to do with his talent, man. And Eric Dickerson exposed that when we did that video about the collusion the NFL owners put in the call, and they didn't want nobody to pick up Shedeur. They was trying to penalize him and blackball him because of his dad. And that's basically what it is. It ain't have nothing to do with Shedeur's talent, because if you look at that talent and you evaluate talent, Shedeur Sanders stands above some of these quarterbacks that are in the NFL and some of these backup quarterbacks. So you guys let me know what y'all think about today's video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. And I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. And I want to thank everybody that's been subscribing and been rocking with me as we've been covering Shedeur Sanders and everything around Shedeur Sanders. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.